Hello everyone. Today I would like to think about land use regulations in Japan. I know that you often buy bottled tea at convenience stores, but what would you think if you were told that you could only drink half of the bottle of tea? What would you think, especially if you were told by the government or the national government? That's ridiculous, isn't it? In principle, you should be free to use what you buy with your own money. But this is not the case with land. Even if you paid tens or hundreds of millions of dollars for the land, it is not uncommon for you to be allowed to build a structure on only half the size of the land. The legal basis for not being able to freely use the land you bought, in other words, the legal basis for land use regulations, is found in the Building Standards Law and the Urban Planning Law. The regulations can be roughly divided into three categories: development regulations, use regulations, and form regulations. Let's take a closer look at each. First, let's look at development regulations. The Urban Planning Law defines development as a change in the form of a parcel of land to be used primarily for the construction of a building or specified structure. Land development falls under this category. An example of a specific structure is a golf course. There are many cases in which this act of development may not be free. First of all, the city planning area is divided into areas where development is allowed and areas where development is basically not allowed. The city planning areas are divided into urbanization promotion areas and urbanization control areas. If it is neither, it is called a non-zoned city planning area. Urbanization zones are areas that have already formed an urban area and areas that should be urbanized on a priority basis within about 10 years. On the other hand, an urbanization control area is an area where urbanization should be controlled. It is not necessarily true that if the land is in an urbanization promotion area, it can be freely developed, but a permit is required for development. This is called the development permit system. This is necessary to ensure the use regulation system, because without the development permit system, development would be allowed without permission, and urbanization promotion areas and urbanization control areas would become a figment of the imagination. The purpose of this system is also to create a good and safe urban area and prevent disorderly urbanization. In urbanization promotion areas, building permits are only required for building projects of 1,000 square meters or more. It seems reasonable to limit this to large-scale development, since it would be too costly to obtain the prefectural governor's approval for even the smallest development. Ironically, however, it has been pointed out that not requiring approval for development acts of less than 1,000 square meters may have the effect of encouraging mini-development in terms of the cost of applying for approval. In addition to rules governing the development of land itself, there are also rules governing the use of land. These are called use regulations. Japan has a districts and zones system. These districts are areas established to realize land use according to the appropriate distribution of residential, commercial, industrial, and other uses, the development of urban revitalization centers, and the creation of favorable landscapes, among other objectives. Typical examples are use districts, but other types of use regulations districts include fire protection districts, fire prevention districts, and scenic districts. There are 13 types of use districts in Japan. For residential areas, there are Category 1 low-rise exclusive residential districts, Category 2 low-rise exclusive residential districts, Category 1 medium to high-rise exclusive residential districts, Category 2 medium to high-rise exclusive residential districts, Category 1 residential districts, Category 2 residential districts, quasi-residential districts and countryside residential district. The countryside residential district is a newly established use district in 2018, but has not been designated as of the end of 2022. Commercial and industrial use regulations is divided into neighborhood commercial districts, quasi-industrial districts, and exclusive industrial districts. The point is that factories cannot be built in residential areas, while houses can be built in commercial and industrial areas, except for exclusive industrial districts. In other words, while we originally want to separate residential, commercial, and industrial areas, there are many areas where a mix of uses is allowed and the regulations are loose. One of the reasons for this is that when use districts were introduced, the city was already built and there was a mix of uses, so it was necessary to follow the status quo. Another characteristic of use districts is that it is based on a list of prohibited uses, such as, "You can't build that." This system makes it difficult to respond when new uses emerge. Some communities publish their use districts on a web map. For copyright reasons, one cannot show you the map in this video, but if you are interested, please take a look. This is the end of this article as it has become long. In the next video, we will take a look at form regulations. Thanks for watching.